Welcome back to College Conversations. I'm Dr. Janice Fedor. Today, I'm going to help you learn how to study. I'm going to talk about 5 different study techniques, some of which you may not have heard before, and then review some of the old classic study techniques. So to start things off, I just want to talk about how studying and learning new material is a highly personalized endeavor. So what might work for you might not work for your friend or classmate. So it's important to spend the time figuring out what works for you. And if it works for you, that's all that matters, right? It's your grade. You want to spend time utilizing techniques that work for you, not because they work for somebody else. So ultimately, you want to find out what type of technique is going to help you most of the time. So to start things off, the first thing I want to do is review those old classic standbys, which are flashcards and review sheets. So first of all, flashcards, some of you might have Quizlet in your classes, so you can utilize Quizlet to create flashcards, or a lot of times they're already created for you, so you just go on and utilize the flashcards on Quizlet. But if you don't have Quizlet or you don't have flashcards, you can make flashcards. Get yourself some 3x5 index cards, lined or unlined. If you don't have that, take some construction paper or regular paper and just cut up some 6 pieces of paper or by 4, however big you want to make them, and make your own flashcards. The bonus with that is that the process of making your own flashcards, you're going to learn a lot of the material. It's true. So there's that. Review sheets. If your teacher offers review sheets, make sure that you grab a couple review sheets. It might be online, it might not be. But again, if there's no review sheet, create your own review sheet, okay? Read the end of the chapter, summaries, write out definitions, whatever you think would help you learn the material. If you have a classmate and they're asking themselves, where's the review sheet as well, then I would say have them make a review sheet, you make a review sheet, and then compare them and say, oh, well, what did you remember that I didn't? Or what does yours include that mine doesn't? And then between the two of you, you'll get most of the information. Depending on the discipline, you're going to want to, go over that, maybe go back over the end of the chapter reviews. The second tip I would say is to make a poster presentation. Now, bear with me. Get yourself a large piece of poster board and sort of like visualize what you're trying to learn, what you're trying to remember, what you're trying to do. Some disciplines this works better than others, and I appreciate that. But for some students, this is super helpful. Just having a big piece of poster board, visualizing what they're trying to learn. This rolls into my third tip, which is group the material in meaningful ways. Like either alphabetize it if you're learning terms, or group things by color or by season or by whatever's meaningful in your discipline. You could use the poster board to kind of spread that out. Maybe make different areas. If there's a flow chart involved, spell out the flow chart, or make a circular thing, a pie chart. Again, whatever is meaningful to the discipline, give yourself the space, get some markers. And it's just something about that process that will help you learn the material. The next tip is to pretend that you're the teacher and you're trying to teach this material to somebody else. This technique works well in a study group where you can take turns leading the discussion and say, well, this is what I know about this topic. I think that, it does this, that's, X, Y, and Z. So pretend that you're tasked with teaching the topic, forces you to do the mental gymnastics to think about the material in a different way. And a lot of times that will embed it in your memory. Another tip is to copy over your notes. I know some of you might not like the idea of this, but just bear with me. So taking your notes and then like kind of going through them, sifting through them, and just pulling out notes that are important. And second of all, that you don't know by heart. If you already know it, you've already learned it, you know it by heart, you can repeat it and utilize it and everything and call it up, then that's fine. Don't write that down, but just write down what you don't know, what you still need to go over, okay? And then the next day, do that again. And again, take out the parts that you already know by heart. Oh, I've already looked at that enough. I already know it, or it's over here in my poster board, something. And then the notes get shorter and shorter. So, your end goal with that is to get your notes down to 1 or 2 pages of just this shortened, and that becomes your study guide. This is the things that I'm still kind of having trouble with. Maybe I want to ask the instructor about this. But you've gotten this, everything else you know by then, and you've got it down to 1 to 2 pages. And it's like, okay, that's what I need to focus on. So remember that learning is highly personalized. You need to experiment and find out what works for you. Hopefully some of these tips will work for you. The ironic thing about going to school is that the longer you do it, the better you get at it. And then it's like, and then, you're at the end, you don't need to do it anymore. But that's not true. Keep learning. You're at the school, but your learning is a lifelong process. So the classic tools, which were the flashcards and the review sheets, utilize them in new ways. If you don't have them, make your own. The other tips were make a poster presentation, grouping your material into meaningful ways, whatever's meaningful with the discipline. Pretend you're teaching the class and that you have to give the presentation to your fellow students. And lastly, copy over your notes and keep taking out everything that you already know and making it smaller and smaller. Please remember to hit share if you found this useful and subscribe so I can continue to bring you these helpful videos. And remember to keep learning.